is someone in your life who has made you feel guilty for your own strength, and you have never allowed yourself to resent them for it. They needed you, and you gave. They needed more, and you gave more. And somewhere along the way, the giving stopped being generous and became mandatory. An unspoken contract you never signed but could not escape without becoming the villain of the story. Their weakness became a cage built around your vitality. And the most insidious part is that you were supposed to feel noble about living inside it. You were supposed to be grateful for the opportunity to sacrifice. But late at night, in the privacy of your own mind, you have felt something closer to rage. And that rage terrifies you because it seems to confirm what you fear most about yourself. That beneath your compassion lives something selfish. Something that wants to be free more than it wants to be good. Notice how certain people only seem to feel better when you feel worse. They do not celebrate your victories. They find reasons why the victories do not count. They do not support your growth. They remind you of your obligations. They frame their needs as emergencies that require your immediate attention. And somehow, those emergencies always arrive at the moment you are about to do something for yourself. This is not coincidence. This is strategy. But it is a strategy that never admits to being a strategy, which is what makes it so effective. The weak person does not say, "I want to control you." They say, "I need you." And need is a claim that cannot be questioned without making you into a monster. Something has been stolen from you in the name of virtue, and you are only beginning to count the cost. The dreams you postponed because someone else's crisis was more urgent. The energy you spent managing emotions that were not yours. The years you lost to relationships that flowed only one direction. Your vitality pouring into a void that never filled, never healed, never stopped needing. You told yourself this was love. You told yourself this was what good people do. But there is a difference between giving and being drained, between supporting and being consumed. And the people who consume you have learned to dress their consumption in the language of vulnerability so that you can never name what they are actually doing. Nietzsche did not hate weakness because he lacked compassion. He hated what weakness does when it refuses to remain weakness, when it transforms itself into a moral system designed to enslave the strong. He saw that throughout history, those who could not compete on the original terms did not simply accept their position. They changed the game. They declared that strength itself was evil, that ambition was sin, that the meek would inherit the earth and the powerful would burn in hell. This was not philosophy. This was revenge. Revenge dressed in the costume of ethics. And it worked so well that 2,000 years later, you still feel guilty for wanting to live fully, for wanting to win, for wanting anything that might come at the cost of someone else's comfort. The slave morality Nietzsche identified is not ancient history. It is the air you breathe. It is the voice in your head that says you should not want too much, should not succeed too visibly, should not take up too much space. It is the social punishment that awaits anyone who refuses to apologize for their excellence. Watch what happens when someone accomplishes something significant. The first response is rarely celebration. It is interrogation. How did they really get there? Who did they step on? What privileges did they have that others did not? The accomplishment itself is immediately suspect because accomplishment implies inequality, and inequality has been redefined as injustice. The strong must have cheated. The strong must have stolen. Because if the strong simply were strong, the weak would have to confront the unbearable possibility that their weakness is their own. This is the evil Nietzsche saw in weakness, not the weakness itself, but its refusal to be honest about what it is. The strong person who harms you is at least visible. You can oppose them, resist them, fight them. But the weak person who harms you through guilt, through obligation, through the weaponization of their own suffering, this person is invisible. They are the victim. And victims cannot be held accountable because they lack power. But the lack of direct power does not mean the lack of all power. Guilt is power. Obligation is power. The ability to make someone feel monstrous for wanting their own life. This is power. And it is wielded most ruthlessly by those who have convinced themselves they are wielding nothing at all. You have been on the receiving end of this power and called it love. You have let people make you smaller and called it relationship. You have sacrificed pieces of yourself on the altar of someone else's need and called it virtue. But virtue that hollows you out is not virtue. Love that requires your diminishment is not love. Relationship that flows only one direction is not connection. It is feeding. And you have been fed upon by people who would be horrified to hear themselves described that way, because they genuinely believe their hunger is need and their consumption is closeness. Nietzsche wanted to free people from this trap, not to create cruelty, but to recover honesty, to distinguish between genuine vulnerability that seeks to grow stronger and strategic weakness that seeks to keep others weak. To recognize that compassion given to those who exploit it is not kindness, but enablement. To understand that your own life, your own strength, your own flourishing is not something to apologize for, but something to protect, fiercely, unapologetically, without the endless guilt that has been installed in you by those who benefit from your guilt. The weak person who refuses to grow is not innocent. They are making a choice, the choice to remain dependent, to extract from others what they will not develop in themselves, to transform their inadequacy into a claim on your adequacy. This choice has consequences, not just for them, but for everyone they attach themselves to, and calling it weakness does not make it less of a choice. It makes it a choice that hides from itself. You are allowed to want your own life. You are allowed to set boundaries without explaining them. You are allowed to refuse the role of savior that someone else has assigned you without your consent. You are allowed to recognize when compassion has become a leash and remove the leash without believing you are evil for doing so. Nietzsche did not hate the weak. He hated the lie that weakness tells about itself, and he wanted you to stop believing it